to bed tonight, wake up tomorrow, and there is divisional round football for you. My name is Kay Adams, Nate Burleson, Peter Schrager, Kyle Brandt, all joining the show. We are brought to you by Truist, and it is time to get some headlines. Ian Rappaport joining us to kick off this hour, as he did all morning. Ian, big news in the coaching world continuing to break. What's going on with Atlanta? What's going on with everything?
Okay, well, let's start with the Atlanta Falcons. Clearly, they identified Arthur Smith, the Titans offensive coordinator, as their top choice as head coach. I know the two sides have been in conversation since late last night, and Arthur Smith was slated to go to Detroit today for a second interview. That did not happen. Can the Atlanta Falcons close the deal and solidify Arthur Smith as their next head coach over someone else where he's interviewed? Let's say the Philadelphia Eagles, where he interviewed, where I believe he is actually right now physically, currently. They still have not yet hired a coach. Could they sneak in there and get someone who's been one of the hottest candidates that we've seen in a long time? Meanwhile, some other big-time coaching news from overnight. Robert Saleh is now the official head coach of the New York Jets, signing a 5-year deal. Probably going to bring Mike LaFleur from the 49ers with him as offensive coordinator, though they got to go through the process there. And for Saleh, you know, he loved the Jacksonville job, I know that. But the Jets job was one that very early on he decided if this organization were to offer, he would take it, because that's how badly he wanted this job. And then, of course, for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they get their guy as well, Urban Meyer. Finally the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, something we've been chasing for 2 weeks, ever since before they fired Doug Marrone. We've known he is their top target. And yesterday, he arrived in Jacksonville, stepped off the plane. Deal wasn't done, but at that point, it was pretty clear. Their third meeting that this was happening. Maybe it was the trip on the yacht that sealed it. Maybe we don't know. But yes, Urban Meyer now officially the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, entering the NFL after a long career in college.
Thank you so much, Ian, for the updates all around. We'll be back with you, of course, throughout the day right here on NFL Network. And I'm pretty sure you're working both Saturday and Sunday. One day till football. What a time to be alive. Thank you so much, Ian. The road to Super Bowl 55 continues this weekend. That's right. The momentum building. The pressure is at an all-time high. The final 8 teams looking to punch their ticket to Championship Sunday. Kyle said it. They're not looking to just make it this far.
If you're in this far, you're about winning the whole damn thing.
Let's go. Divisional Playoffs presented by Intuit TurboTax Live. The action kicks off Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. A pleasure to welcome my friend to the show, our very own Taylor Bashade, with the latest on the Rams.
Up?
Girl, it is early on the West Coast. Thank you for joining us. I know
you guys are the only ones that I would
Rams.
wake up this early for.
Yeah, I know that. Sending that love right back to you. Taylor, let's get to talking here. You got some big news about the quarterback situation in L.A. yesterday to tell us. Give us the deets.
Yeah, Kay, no mind games, no mystery, no trickery as to which quarterback is going to start this week. It's back to Goff, just like it has always been. John Wolford was ruled out with a neck injury, but he will travel to Green Bay with the team. Bortles will back up Goff. I will admit, however, that there was some drama around last week's decision to name Wolford as the starter when Goff was clearly healthy enough to play. Goff spoke Thursday and said he wasn't happy with the decision. He and Sean disagreed on the status of his thumb. Goff said, listen, we're 2 grown men. We're allowed to disagree. It's not the end of the world. The most important thing is that I was able to come in and get the win. Jared admitted that he does have a chip on his shoulder about it. He had one last week, but he used it to his advantage in the game against Seattle. So while Sean McVay and Jared Goff's relationship might not be exactly where it was their 2018 Super Bowl year, they're both ready to find a way to move forward, and moving forward is hopefully going into Green Bay and getting the win.
Okay, so Taylor, we now know that Jared Goff is the starter, but how confident are they in his throwing ability with that thumb?
Look, he's healthy enough to play. He played last week, and he said this week that his thumb is progressing. It's getting better every day. He said there is a little bit of soreness, but it's certainly not going to impact his ability to throw the ball. One thing that is very noteworthy is that he was practicing with gloves on both hands this week. So while he is fully healthy, he isn't at full capacity because he usually doesn't play with gloves. He's played with gloves in 2 other games, gone 1-1. But Goff is not historically great in cold weather games. He has 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But before we count Goff out just yet, Kay, we're going to talk about one of your favorite places, New Orleans. We all remember what he did in 2018, going into New Orleans, going into the loudest NFL stadium to play in and getting that win. So while Goff certainly does still have those 3 screws in his thumb, they aren't sure exactly where he's at They know that he is their quarterback and he has the ability to get it done. The Rams are just hoping that that is the quarterback that they see on Saturday.
And he has taken down the Packers, of course, as well, as Peter Schrager told us earlier. Thank you so much. I mean, you didn't have to bring up the loss of the Saints at the hands of Jared Goff. But I love you anyway, Taylor. Talk to you in a bit. Appreciate the updates all around as we look forward to this game between the Rams and the Saints. The Rams and the Browns will both be trying to pull off upset wins against top-seeded teams in their conference. It's the divisional round, and it is starting tomorrow. It's not very common. It has happened 6 times, guys, in the previous 10 seasons. So I ask you, who's got a better shot at knocking off the numero uno seed, the Rams or the Browns?
Aaron Donald plays for the Rams, right? And Aaron Donald is teamed up with Jalen Ramsey, and I know Jared Goff can't throw the ball like he usually does, and I know Jared Goff stinks in cold weather, and we can go through all these narratives. Aaron Donald's a game wrecker, and Jalen Ramsey is an absolute eraser. You take those 2 players who I think in the league are respectively the best at their positions, defensive line and in defensive back, and you put them on a field and say, okay, let's just try to make a play. Let's try to keep this close, and then let's rely on Cam Akers. I think you're going to see a lot of Cam Akers. You saw a lot last week, and I think you might see him in a lot of ways. You might see him out of the backfield. You might see him lining up out wide. You might see him even under center at some point. You could see it in a lot of ways because what the Rams are going to do is limit the opportunities Jared Goff has to have to make a play or have to throw an interception. If Jared Goff is throwing the ball 40 times, they will not win this game. If Jared Goff is being asked to throw for throw with Aaron Rodgers, they've got no shot. But if they play the exact style they did last week, when, by the way, Jared Goff with 9 fingers and no days of practice went in and beat Russell Wilson in Seattle, I think they could pull it off. I really do. We've got to make upset or just picks in general in the next couple minutes on this show. I'm just telling you, I might like the Rams this weekend in Lambeau. And don't fall off your chair, folks. I know what they've got, and they've got it on the defensive side of the ball, and they've got that running back right there, number 23. Sean McVay drafted an entire game plan for Wolford last week. Yeah. Didn't get to use it. Goff went in with the most vanilla game plan possible. Just throw the ball here and there and don't hurt us, and they still won by 10 points. Now imagine an entire week to prepare a game plan for the quarterback who will be under center. Don't count out the Rams just yet.
Peter, can't you just feel people at home like shaking their heads when this goes on Twitter and they're already typing in their GIFs about your take and it's Michael Jordan saying, stop it, get some help. Like they can't see it. It's Rodgers, it's Lambeau, Jared Goff. But I think you might be onto something because we have the number 1 offense versus the number 1 defense. Don't sleep on that. It has happened 15 times in the Super Bowl era, and usually the number 1 defense wins. The overwhelming majority of the time, the number 1 offense is held well below its season average. It's happened a lot of times. Normally the defense wins, and the Friday before, everyone's hyping the quarterback and the wide receivers, and then they get beat. And if you don't think Rodgers has been through it, Rodgers has been through it. Number 1 offense versus number 1 defense. Go to Seattle, one of the craziest games I've ever seen in my life. Rodgers, look at Richard Sherman picking off. Is that Jalen Ramsey or Richard Sherman? I can't tell. He's going to Devontae. Guys, this was a wild game in which the number 1 offense and Rodgers was a hot knife through butter that season, knocked off. Now, a couple of things. Yes. It's not in Lambeau. Aaron Rodgers was hobbled that game. There's the walk-off. And Russell Wilson was not Jared Goff's quarterback. This is what I would just say for Jared Goff and the Rams. I don't have sources. It's not what I do. I have my own intuition. I think if John Wolford was healthy, I think he'd be out there this week. I think Jared Goff, a number 1 overall pick, a franchise quarterback, $100 million, would be sitting, a healthy scratch. If you are not mad now, Jared Goff, I'm sure you know what time it is. I'm sure you know what's up with Wolford and McVay and you. If you're not mad now, you never will be. Go play your ass off because it's happened before. Peter, he's got to make some throws in this game. I know. I mean, he's got to do the 3rd and 12 thing, where it's 3rd and 12 at Lambeau, and oh my God, Jared Goff just uncorked one for the first time.
Taylor's point, and she's great at what she's saying here. There was about 13 of those opportunities in the Superdome with fans, and he made it happen. They were down in that game 13-0, and with fans screaming at them, and Jared Goff was the better quarterback than Drew Brees in that NFC Championship.
Trace, does he have that in him to get
Yes,
mad?
he's done it.
To get, no, not to complete a nice play and win. I'm saying to get mad about what's going on. Does he have that dog in him? That I don't know.
You think?
I think he's got that fire.
I call him hummus. He seems boring as hell. He's like a flat line. Is he have a dog?
I think so. I mean, if you're telling me his career's on the line here, yeah, I think so.
If not now, let's go.
Very rich man.
Yeah, and sometimes that makes people happy and sedate. What do you think, Nate? You're
sometimes
rich, man.
people don't have. Sometimes people don't have. Sometimes people don't need that demeanor. You don't need a dog in you to go out there and be spectacular.
You need to have the dog in you. You don't need to be
You need
outward.
to express it. You don't need to express it. He could be as chill as ever and go out there and get
You'd
the
be
win.
like Eli, you'd be like Flacco. I mean,
But I like his take
We've
that he's
seen that
saying he wants
before.
to see him mad because he knows what time it is. I don't know if he is mad about what time it is.
Eli and Flacco weren't getting benched maybe on the way to their Super Bowl run.
There we go.
Good point. That's a good point. For me, I'm looking at the Browns. I feel like the Browns have a better shot at beating the #1 seed, and it's
Wow.
because